Welcome to the beautiful city of Miyoshi in Tokushima. In late November, I was invited by the tourism division of Miyoshi City to participate in a tour around the Okoke and Iya Valley area, and it was an amazing experience. Our 3-day tour of the beautiful Miyoshi City in Tokushima started off at Okoke Station. When we arrived, we wandered around the surrounding local shops. We visited a liquor store where I purchased some locally made sudachi wine, and the Okoke Mart, where we learnt about the famous local foods of Okoke, including Iwa tofu, a firm tofu that was made to withstand being carried up the steep mountains, tama konnyaku, made from local potatoes that has a nice texture, and bokeage, which is fried tofu said to be great in oden and soup. We had the chance to make and drink some tea while being entertained by the locals. They danced and played their seashell horns while showing off their skills in Diablo, plate spinning, and spinning tops. We were then taken on a magnificent river cruise down the Okoke Gorge. The Okoke Gorge is a valley that runs about 8 kilometers along the Yoshino River. The water was crystal clear and surrounded by these breathtakingly beautiful rocks that were formed over 200 million years ago. We also saw a variety of wildlife living their daily lives along the river. Following the pleasure boat ride, we headed up to a restaurant called Mannaka on the main floor of the pleasure boat complex for lunch. We were able to try some of the famous foods from Miyoshi City, such as amego, a sweet fish, iya soba, and iwa tofu. My favorite food was the konnyaku sashimi. The texture was soft and smooth, and combined with the sweet miso sauce, it was a delightful combination. Once we had finished lunch, we headed over to Kazurabashi on a really cool vintage-style bus. Iya no Kazurabashi, or the Vine Bridge, is one of Japan's oldest bridges. It is 45 meters long and 15 meters above the river. It was a thrilling experience to walk over the bridge as it shook and swayed back and forth. The view from the middle was beautiful. You could see the river winding down through the valley. We then walked from the Vine Bridge towards Biwa Waterfall, and on the way we came across a shop selling amego and dekomawashi. Dekomawashi is a potato, tofu, and konnyaku skewer covered in miso that is cooked over charcoals on fire. It looked very delicious. The Biwa Waterfall is a 50-meter high waterfall which comes crashing down between moss-covered rocks into a pool of water. The sound of the rushing water was somewhat peaceful, and the waterfall itself was magnificent to see. We stopped by a souvenir shop where you could buy various local foods and specialty items before heading up into the mountains to look around. On the way, we stopped at a lookout which had an amazing view of Ochiai village and the houses that were built in the Edo and early Showa periods. Next, we visited the Kakashi no Sato village, or the Scarecrow village, where there were hundreds of scarecrows placed throughout the village. We later learned that only 30 people actually lived in the village, meaning that there were more scarecrows than people. The scarecrows were there to make the village look lived in. The creepy part about this was that some of these scarecrows were actually designed based on some of the people who used to live in the town. We stayed in the Togenkyo Iya mountain village in a traditional thatched roof farmhouse. From the outside, the farmhouse appears to be big and empty, but as you enter you will notice that the entire inside is clean and modern. The kitchen had heated flooring and every appliance you would need to have a fantastic stay. Toilet and bathroom were spacious and very clean. The bedroom had tatami floors and we slept on futons. Outside there was a set of chairs where you could sit and relax looking over the valley. For dinner we headed over to another farmhouse for a nice home-cooked meal. We had various local mountain foods including inoshishi nabe, wild boar hot pot, spring rolls, seasoned mountain potatoes, and boiled vegetables and tofu. The seasoned potatoes were a big hit among everyone who was there. We also tried a few of the local sakes that we purchased earlier that day. Day 2 of the tour started off with a beautiful sunrise over the beautiful foggy mountains. From our accommodation we walked down the street to a restaurant called Nakochi for breakfast. It had a great view of the valley. We were served homemade deer sausages and bread. The sausages were juicy and delicious. After breakfast we headed to Okuya Niju Kazurabashi, the double vine bridges. The walk down to the bridges was amazing. The crisp clean air and the smell of the cedar was delightful. Here there are 2 bridges, one for men and one for women, although I did walk across both. There was also a fascinating ropeway bridge where you could hop on into a little cart and you could pull yourself across the valley by pulling a rope. It was a unique experience and the view from the cart was breathtaking. I had a lot of fun exploring the area and running across the bridges. Next we headed up to the top of a mountain to a farm where we had the opportunity to make traditional iya soba noodles by hand. First we added the flour, which was a mixture of buckwheat and a regular wheat flour and water. We then kneaded it into a lovely ball shape. After that we rolled out the soba with a rolling pin in a very specific way. We then folded the soba and added extra flour to it in preparation for cutting. The first batch of soba we cut using a guillotine, and the second we cut with a knife by hand. For lunch we went to a restaurant called the Soba Dojo where everything we ate was soba in various ways. There was iya soba noodles, which were thicker than usual, soba tama, a large bowl of boiled soba, and soba gome, a soup soup with soba grains and vegetables. Everything was delicious. After lunch we headed to Chiori, a traditional thatched roof house believed to be built over 300 years ago. The inside was renovated and had many traditional items and pictures placed throughout. There was even a large traditional fire pit. On the way back down the mountain we came across an Inoshishi pen and it was interesting to see them in the flesh as they are ever so elusive in the wild. On the way to our next destination we stopped by to check out the view of Hinoji Valley, which looks like the hiragana character Hi. Once we arrived at the onsen, we walked down the street to view a small statue of a boy peeing. The statue stands at the top of a 200-meter cliff, and it is said that a long time ago, travelers and local boys would sometimes try this out. Next, we headed back to Iya Onsen for a unique hot spring experience. We took a cable car down to the Roten Buro, an open-air bath at the bottom of the valley. Along the way, we enjoyed the panoramic views of the valley. It took about 5 minutes to reach the bottom. The hot spring overlooked the river. It was lukewarm and used the natural water from the spring. After relaxing in the onsen, we headed back up to the hotel for a world-class multi-course meal. We started with a local mountain peach wine, followed by various delicious and beautifully presented dishes, including a variety of appetizers, followed by a spicy miso fondue where we had a variety of seasonal raw vegetables and steamed mushrooms that we could dip into it. We also ate soba subeshi soup, amego, a chrysanthemum manju, and duck meat hot pot. We also received yuzu sherbet ice cream as a palate cleanser mid-course. In the second half of the course, we received vegetable tempura with Andes rock salt, iya soba, pickled vegetables, and last but not least for dessert we ate apple mousse and a fresh persimmon. We also tried 3 different types of local sake. Day 3 of the tour started off with another beautiful sunrise over the beautiful foggy mountains. We headed back to Nakochi again for breakfast, where we were served a traditional Japanese style breakfast with rice, miso soup and various side dishes. The shop owner also played the shamisen for us. After breakfast it was time to head back to Okoke station and head home. I had such a wonderful time on the tour and I met so many great people. I hope that one day you will get to experience the nature, culture, beauty, sights and food of Okoke and Iya Valley in Miyoshi City, Tokushima. I definitely recommend heading down here if you want a Japanese styled holiday. Love, Shikoku!